piano tuning, a new old world standard. So what's the difference between chromatic and factory tuning? Chromatic is the status quo. In fact, you're going to see a lot of comments below this, people upset about what I'm talking about because they've chromatic tuned their entire life. It's an industry standard, and quite frankly, it's something I'll never do. I do factory tuning. It's like Democrats and Republicans. We're not getting along on the matter, okay? It's just how it goes. Now, chromatic tuning, you'll see videos of it everywhere. You just... They might start to the bottom, go to the top. They might start from the top, go to the bottom. They might start in the middle and go up. They might mute 2 strings on every string and do 1 of each string, and then second one. That's chromatic tuning. Factory tuning is when you jump around and you tune sporadically, which I'll explain right now. To give you an idea of what I do as a professional for the last 15 years, here's a Rittmuller, which is going to a beautiful tango studio that not only loves the look, but loves the tone. This lovely Geyer piano is going to a professional jazz musician who loves the tone for a 4.5-foot piano, and the response is a little beyond amazing. It's made in Germany, after all. This golden era 1911 chromatic Bach has been fully restored and is going into a church for Sunday services. This Chickering piano was just rehomed into a school last night. First and foremost, if you're going to tune any piano on any level, you need the professional tools. Beginner wrenches just stress pianos out, and they don't really get the job done. These extension wrenches start at about $200-300, always worth the investment. You're going to pay a tuner almost that just to tune it. If you're going to do it yourself, invest that money into you. You can see here my master wrench, I actually add on these industrial eye hooks. It gives it more torque. It centers the center point of distribution, weight distribution, so I can tune the tightest pins in the world that everybody's skipping on, and it just tunes like butter. I never really complain about tuning a piano. It always comes easy to me. Now, the reason why pianos go out of tune, according to a factory tuner, me, last thing I'm ever worried about is the pins. If the pins are loose, it's in a dry situation, you need to add a humidifier in that room, and you got to keep the humidity before 40 to 50%. It's going to take 8 to 10 years to get back to where it used to be out of the factory. Simple facts. Humidity keeps the pins tight. Now, your soundboard is why the piano goes out of tune. Your soundboard fluctuates up and down. It breathes, almost like a stomach. It has an arch called the piano's crown. So when your humidity's high, your piano will go 5 cents sharp as it goes up, and then as your humidity's low, your piano will go 5 cents flat as the tension goes lower. So, to explain more about the crown and how chromatic tuning and factory tuning affect the crown, we did a little diagram here for you. There's your crown. You see the arch? That's your soundboard, your string tensions sitting down on that arch. Now, with factory tuning, we tune sporadically and evenly all over the piano so that tension goes up and down as the piano breathes and the soundboard fluctuates. We fluctuate with it, not fighting the arch, but accenting it so it goes up harmoniously. Now with chromatic tuning, you don't really get that, and it causes a lot of issues, like pianos that can't stay in tune, or pianos that go out of tune almost 2 weeks after, or you might bring it up to concert pitch and it goes right back down. There's a long list of epic fails, and we'll explain to you why. The problem is, as you go chromatically across the soundboard, you're pushing the tension down here and then pulling it to the right or the left. So here we have a piano started on the low notes to the high. You can see how the tension gets pulled way up to the atmosphere up here in the high treble. Vice versa, you start on the treble, go down. Now all your tension is being pushed towards the low end of the piano. Say you like equal temperament and you start in the middle and you go up and then down from there. Now you're pushing your tensions out to the sides like a wave. Same thing if you go right one time, left the next. Your tensions are all uneven. It creates a chaotic environment that, simply put, makes pianos fail in 20 to 30 years. We've all heard it a million times. That's a statement that honestly says I run an illegitimate business, which I've been doing for 15 years. And even though I have a long track record of happy customers, apparently, according to my peers, I'm the devil and do the impossible. But factory tuning has always come through for me, and I'm still in business, and I'm doing a great business, and it's been constantly expanding because I have long-term results. Factory tuning. They do it the first time for a reason. Now you're saying, wait a second, everybody chromatic tunes. How could it be awful for the piano? There is an appropriate time to chromatic tune. When the piano's at A440 and is even across the board, you can fine tune it, and the tensions are going to be so light, it barely does anything to the piano. Now when a piano is 5 cents sharp, and then 5 cents flat, 5 cents sharp, 5 cents flat, it needs to be factory tuned every time. Now, the majority of places I tune in don't have consistent humidity, and I factory tune 95% of the time. Sure, I'll chromatic tune in the rare occasion that the piano's barely out of tune and it's in the perfect environment. It's very unrealistic in a world where people don't care about their pianos and they're not taught how to keep the humidity consistent. Simply put, it's a living, breathing instrument. The wood works with the environment. I'll show you how to factory tune in just 1 second. But the first, to just explain more of the science behind it, it's just like putting a drum head on. To put a drum head on, you have to keep the tension on this arch even. This arch represents your piano soundboard, okay? The tuning pins represent how you tune it. To tune a drum correctly, you need everything even across. So you'll bring this pin and this pin up together at the same time so they're both tight. Now we have the same tightness here and here. You'll do that by hand. Then you'll do the next two right here in a cross pattern. Then the ones here. Now that they're all tight by hand, you'll go tighten a little bit here, tighten here, tighten here, tighten here, tighten here, tighten here. You dance around sporadically, jumping around like a star, bringing that tension even across the entire head. A very basic practice practiced by almost every single drummer, but almost never utilized in piano tuning. Instead, piano tuning is more likely represented as pull this all the way to it's tight, 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 and then you come around. When a piano's been improperly tuned, and we say improperly because it does cause damage, your tension points will get so far up here that these pins will start cracking. And they'll start pulling over here. You'll see cracks going here. Strings will also start snapping. It's simply because the string tension here is much higher than it's supposed to be, and that's causing extreme conditions on the soundboard. The other thing that will happen is the middle of your piano won't have enough tension. So it's pushing down too much here, not pushing down enough there. And this end of the treble bridge and that end of the bass bridge will actually be floating, and you'll get a very airy tone here. If you ever played a piano and the tone just completely changed right here, it's been improperly tuned and your bridges are actually pulling up. Now to fix this, all I have to do is completely loosen the strings and factory tune it again. I don't have to restring it. Restringing it would solve the problem. Some people go and restring it and they still do it the wrong way. It just is what it is. I hope the best for everybody. But if you're going to put strings on the first time, it has to be done factory. All right. Another example of how chromatic tuning can damage a piano. When I first started, I tried seeing what would happen if I chromatically tuned a piano 3 times in a row in one sitting, and was tuned to about A415, and I brought it up to A440. It held, but overnight it put so much tension on the harp that the harp snapped. That's how much tension you have going on here. And you can see how the harp is designed to take tension linearly, not horizontally. So we want to bring the tension this way, even. This drum represents a piano that has been inconsistent humidity and then tuned every year, fine-tuned right to concert pitch. It's been 5 cents flat, 5 cents sharp, whatever, A440, A440. And this is what happens to your tensions, okay? So here's your extremes where your bridge pins are snapping, because you can see this pin's all the way down and was making clicking noises as I went down. it's very tight here, I get some sound, right? Sounds like a drum. Maybe. Now as I go to my sides, less tension, but I got the pins in. Still holding. That's your bridges. Your bridges are still holding, but it's stressed out down here. Bridges are holding here. Now here, I couldn't even fit the pin in because all the tension's pushed down here. That represents a floating bridge, which is something that happens. You'll hear your mid to low range just sounds flat and airy, and it's because your bridges are literally picking up off your soundboard. And I can remedy this by loosening the strings and putting the drum on. All right, we're gonna play the drum now. It will be fun. Oh, we got a tone. Yeah, something. Ooh, kind of airy and flat up there. Best described as still a drum, but not a drum. Doesn't need to be rebuilt. I gotta put this head on correctly though. That's the strings. I gotta loosen it up, start from scratch. Factory tuning, here we go. I've fixed this a bunch of times, believe it or not. I've seen brand new pianos restrung like this. I wish I didn't. It happens. So now that we've explored the basic math and science and also engineering behind chromatic tuning, and we're going to go over right now how to factory tune your piano. We're just going to give it to you. You can factory tune a piano today. If you've been tuning chromatic for years, give it a try. You might love the results. What I say I do all the time. Here's a piano. We brought it up to pitch last week. It is going to settle a little bit. Every piano is different. Some don't even settle at all. It depends on the design. This one is right at A440. It's got a little sloppy up there. I brought 4 up to pitch this week, so. All right, here we go. Here's your tuning method, okay? C, E, A flat, D, F sharp, B flat, D flat, F, A, E flat, G, B. What does that mean? We're going to explain it right now, okay? Your piano gives you a whole math equation right in front of you. You got 12 notes in an octave, okay? You can divide 12 by either 3 or 4. If you divide it by 4, you get diminished. Sounds a little dark when you're tuning. We use thirds. I call it giant steps because I can go anywhere pitch-wise. C, E, A flat. Augmented chords, okay? So we got our first one, C, E, A flat. So that's just the basic start of how we came up with our pattern, okay? So scratch that. That has nothing to do with the tuning. We're just explaining you why we're using this order, okay? To do the tuning properly, we have to stay sporadic and even on the whole keyboard. So we're going to do one note at a time. We'll start with our C's. Yeah, need some fine tuning. Then we'll go to our E's. A flats. All right, now I've gotten 1/4 of my piano right at pitch. And you notice how it's mathematically even, so my soundboard is moving up and down evenly, and it's going with the support beams on the piano harp as opposed to against them, right? Now we're going to do our second half, D, E flat, B flat, right? Whole tone scale. The only scale that's half of the piano. D's. F sharps. B flats. For a dramatic effect, I'm going fast. 3/4. D flat, F, A. Up, up, boom. F. A. E flats. G's. B's. Now, it's a lot easier to use mutes than felts because obviously you're being much more chromatic or much more sporadic. But the piano is going to be much happier. The tuning is going to be more consistent because you have 2,000 points of, or 2,000 pounds of tension over about 900 different points because each string has 9 different points of tension on it, and then it wraps around. So having all those even makes the piano much happier. It's going to sound louder. It's going to hold tune longer. It's going to have a more vibrant sound, and it's not going to be getting stressed out because the tensions on the soundboard are being kept even. The only way to do that with chromatic tuning is always tune the piano at the pitch it's at, and if it's far off a pitch or not in tune with itself, it's going to damage the piano. So you have to tune it factory style. It's tuned like this the first time for a reason. They might not use this specific method. This is the method we use. Our customers love it. They keep coming back for more. We've been tuning and guaranteeing new, used pianos. Same guarantee, same outcome every time. If you're really good at this, here's some tips for a master. Say your piano's a pitch or 2 pitches flat. I'll bring my C, about a quarter pitch sharp. So it'll be at about A440, somewhere up there. About eighth sharp, 2 cents sharp, 2 cents sharp. And by the time I get down to B, my C will be right at A440. Because as I go through, the tension settles. And you also notice your B in the beginning might be at A432. And by the time I do all this and I get back to the B, my B is actually at A425 now because all the tension has kind of settled evenly on the piano. All right, so say the strings are completely loose and you want to do a full factory reset. Now I'll tune my C almost 5/8 sharp, almost 3/4. It's almost C sharp actually. If I just tuned it to A440, by the time I get through, this will be about B flat. So I go way sharp on that, about a half a pitch sharp on this, half a pitch sharp, quarter, 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 5 sharp, 5 sharp. By the time I get through, it's almost right at A440 and I give it another run through. So using that math and to explain why that works, say in construction I'm holding a wall up, right? We just put a wall and I'm holding it. Now somebody else comes, holds next to me, and somebody comes out and holds on this side while I'm holding less pressure in the middle, right? That's what you're doing on your bridges. So as you push your C's down, that's taking all your tension. And then as your E's go, this is taking the E's off of that. So even though the pin and the string are at the same tension points, it's sounding different because there's less tension on that string because this is taking over and then this is taking over. And you can see how if you did that chromatically, you're putting a lot of tension on that soundboard. That's what we avoid. We avoid it all the time, quite frankly. Anyways, just some tips from a master tech. I do it all the time. Take a screenshot.